Happy Tuesday, Blue Demons. Thanks so much for joining us for our morning edition of Get to Know DePaul. Today we're joined by Ellen Vingato, our Dean of Students. Before we get started, as we do for every single stream, you have the opportunity to check into today's live stream by clicking or scanning the QR code pictured here, or by clicking the link that will be available in the chat momentarily. So by checking in there, you'll have the chance to win one of our Lincoln Park map stainless steel water bottles. You can scan in anytime between now and September 11th. Even if you're not watching live, you can still check into the stream by scanning that QR code. So be sure to do it. You'll log in with your Campus Connect credentials for a really easy way to win some awesome DePaul swag. But we'll go ahead and get started. Ellen, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so for those of you that might be new to the stream, Get to Know DePaul is a series we're doing as part of Welcome Week to really do a deep dive into the different programs and services that are available to students while they're here in their time at DePaul. So each day at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m., we're joined with different staff members and students to talk about different offerings and opportunities for engagement. So Ellen, as we get started here, how about you tell our viewers a little bit about who you are, how long you've been at DePaul and why you decided to come here.
Sure. So I've been at DePaul for just over 10 years. I actually started my journey at DePaul in the residence halls, the Lincoln Park campus residence halls. I was a residence director of Clifton Fullerton Hall, now known as Ozanam Hall. Many years ago, I was attracted to DePaul because of the mission and the Vincentian values, learning about St. Vincent de Paul and Louise de Marillac, and just felt such an affinity to the institution. So spent some time working in residential education. I actually left DePaul for a few years and came back because I missed it a lot. I missed the community, I missed the people, and again, feeling connected to the mission. So I've been in the Dean of Students office since 2013. And yeah, keep coming back every day. Every day is different, right? And we're in a very different type of year, but excited to kick off the start of the fall term.
Yeah. So how about you tell our students a little bit about Dean of Students? It's both a title that you hold and an office. So I think that there might be a little bit of confusion for some of our students. So how about you just tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. So I think when students hear Dean of Students office, they often think of that's the principal's office. That's the place where you go when you get in trouble. And, I would share with students and families that really the majority of the portfolio that the Dean of Students office manages and works with students is what we call advocacy and support services. So it's really helping students navigate the university and help them overcome barriers and navigating adversity that they're experiencing at DePaul when they are having to manage a personal or a medical emergency. So for example, you have a hospitalization or you have a death of a family member and you start falling behind in classes, and then you're concerned about your financial aid and you need some support. You don't know where to go, where to start. And so our office, oftentimes we describe ourselves as an ombuds. We can help you. You may not land with us ultimately, but we can help get you connected to lots of really great resources within DePaul. And then we also have great community relationships outside of the university within the Chicagoland area. So we're not academic advisors. We're not licensed clinical therapists, but we do a lot of meeting our students where they are, helping respond to their urgent needs and getting them connected to community so that they can be their best possible selves, that they can be back on track to being successful. We do also maintain and develop our community standards. So we do have a student conduct process that our office oversees, where we talk about, what is our expectation for behavior while we are all in community together. And when that behavior doesn't meet university expectations, we have conversations with students about what we expect of our students, and then how to give them tools and resources to maybe make different or better decisions moving forward.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and I think especially that first part that you talk about, Dean of Students is not there to be the punitive side of the house every time. They truly are there to ensure that students have this vibrant and robust experience, and to help them navigate that, especially during times of crisis. I think sometimes it's like you said, people think about it as this place that you go to when you're in trouble. And you all offer a lot more than that too. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's important that the student community knows that. It can be difficult to reach out for help when you need it and you're not, again, sure where to go or who to start with. And so we're happy to always sit with students. Every situation is unique, and although we have, our standard resources that we provide, we really want to hear from students about what they're going through, how it's impacting them, and offer individualized support and services as best as possible. We always hate to hear stories of students who wind up walking away from DePaul because things became too much for them to manage. So we never want students to feel alone. If we can walk with you on your journey, and there's an image that we usually show with the Dean of Students office. It's sort of like a safety net, and we're moving around and forward. And it's not just our office holding the corners. It's different people. It's parents and families. It's Courtney's holding one corner, I'm holding another, and we all work together to put this fabric together, thread by thread, of how we support students holistically.
Yeah. So Ellen, I think one of the questions that students might have is, if they go to Dean of Students, is there like a mark made on their permanent record, or do they come to you all in confidence? Like, to what degree is their concerns that they might have kept private versus what do you share with faculty or staff through a student's experience?
Sure. So our office, again, since we're not licensed clinical psychologists, we're not confidential counselors or survivor support advocates. We do respect students' privacy and share information only with the student's permission. So if they would like for us to reach out to their faculty, we do that with their permission. If they would like a parent or family member to be a part of our meeting, or would like for us to reach out, again, we do that with their permission. So we always take the lead from the student on what they need, how we can activate their support system, what their support system looks like, and who needs to be involved at what juncture during their path.
Yeah, that's great to know about, because I think there's a couple of places that a couple of different offices that I've talked with throughout the series so far that talk about as a great place to go if you don't know where else to start. And I feel like DOS is one of those places, because you do have connections to so many different ways. You can tell them, like, yes, we're the place that you should be, or you have these connections with university counseling services who we've talked to, or health promotion and wellness, or maybe they're not they don't need a service like that, but they might benefit from an experience in campus recreation where they just they could participate in some other healthy behaviors to help their experience. So Dean of Students is absolutely a great place for that first point of contact for students when they're looking for a little bit of help there too.
Yeah, absolutely. And we pride ourselves in providing high quality of care, and to do warm handoffs. That makes a difference when we've really developed relationships across the university, and we can tell a student or a family member, I'm going to connect you with Courtney. I know Courtney really well, and she's really great. And to help with that connection for students, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. So obviously we know fall is going to look a little bit different here. It's different than a normal quarter where they could find Dean of Students up on the 3rd floor of the Student Center, or on the 11th floor of the Lewis Center downtown in the Loop. So how can students expect to engage with Dean of Students as we head into fall quarter?
Sure, it's a great question. So the best way to reach out to us is to engage with our virtual office. So if you can see our website scrolling underneath the video here, it's go.depaul.edu/DOS. And there's information there about how you can join the virtual office, how you can call and get connected with a staff member. And then it also provides each individual staff member's contact information by phone or email. And we've really made a commitment to students during the pandemic to respond to each individual request within 24 to 48 hours. And if a student needs an appointment, we are committed to making that happen within 1 to 2 business days. So more information about that is on our website. And again, more information about how to join the virtual office to call or email is also on our site.
That's great. One of the other features that I'll oftentimes direct students to the Dean of Students site too, there's a big button at the top of it. If you ever have a concern, you can also go there and report that concern. Again, it doesn't mean that everything is going to be like a crisis emergency, but if you have a general concern, it's a great place to start too, because our DOS staff can really filter through those and as we've been talking about, can triage and can either keep it in that office or can help connect you with other resources as well. So that's a great resource for students to know about too.
Yeah, thank you. It is. There's a little green button. It says report a concern. You can click on it. You can report a concern about yourself, that maybe something happened and you, again, a hospitalization or a death of a family member, and you can upload attachments, pictures, emails. Maybe you have a concern about another student. Maybe you have a concern about a friend that may need some support or assistance, and you want to walk through, how do I get my friend some help or some support? So there's all different reasons why and how you can report a concern, but that's a really great way to reach out to our office and share a bunch of information about what you want to let us know.
Yeah. So Ellen, we've talked a little bit about assistance during what we might call office hours or like normal operating hours. What do students do if they themselves are in crisis outside of the hours of 9 to 5, or if they're interacting with another DePaul student who might need help outside of that time?
Sure, that's a great question. So I always recommend that if you are in an emergency situation that you call 911. You can call public safety as well from a campus phone. It's 57777 or 773-325-7777. Public safety is available 24/7, 365 to respond to campus emergencies. The Dean of Students office operates on an on-call basis as well in conjunction with our partners in residential education. So we can always be reached through public safety by calling that number and can help students respond to emergencies during business hours, after business hours, weekends, holidays.
Great. Well, Ellen, thanks so much for your time today. As we head towards the tail end of the interview, I'd remind our viewers that if you have any questions for Ellen that you'd like us to ask in the session here, feel free to post them into the comments and we can display them on screen and ask live here. Or obviously you can always email DOS as well at deanofstudents@depaul.edu. But Ellen, for our either first-year students or new to DePaul students, just curious if you might have any advice for them as they start this journey, either in terms of interacting with DOS or just as a general college student.
Yeah, I would say just generally, with COVID and the pandemic and a lot of unrest that's happening in our world right now and in our country, is just to be gentle with yourself. That, the word unprecedented has been used a lot, but it's appropriate. We are in really unprecedented times, and it's pushing all of us in new ways and learning things about ourselves that maybe we didn't know were possible, and showing sides of ourselves that just the resilience that can come through. And one of the pieces I mentioned earlier is how hard it can be to reach out and to ask for help, or to maybe you're not even asking for help. You just need to share what's going on, just to feel in community with someone else who may be grieving or suffering. That's really important. Community is so important, especially during a time where we are away from each other. There's many ways to connect, but in so many ways it feels disconnected. And not wanting people to feel alone, and to reach out and know that you're not alone, and that we're here to support one another. So that would be one thing. And the other is to take risks to, once we get through this really challenging time, and we will, to use your time at DePaul to continue to push yourself, to learn more about the world around you, to take a class that maybe you never thought you would have, to join an activity, to talk to a student that maybe you never thought you would have talked to before. This is just a really great time to learn more about who you want to be and how you want to help shape the world, and to take risks where you can. And, if you misstep along the way, there's a lot of people here that are in your corner that'll help get you back on track. And DePaul is just a really great place to explore who you are and who you want to be.
Yeah, that's spectacular advice. One of the reasons that I get to talk about, or one of the reasons I say I love working in higher education, is because we get to work with the people who are going to go out and change the world. And I think
100%.
yeah, and DePaul is absolutely that place. And I think because we're a mission-driven institution, and because we get to talk about all of these issues that are really facing the world, and when we have a robust campus experience with the city in the city of Chicago, you get to live it and see it and interact with all these people. So I think that's really, really spectacular advice for students to think about and consider. And I know we've got students who are, DePaul's doors will eventually be more open than they're going to be this fall, and we're going to go back to this, and we're going to get through this together. So I think that's great advice for students as they look towards the fall here. So Ellen, thank you again so much for taking the time to chat with us today. For our viewers, if you didn't have the opportunity at the front end of the broadcast, be sure to scan into today's stream by scanning the QR code here, or you can find the link to register in the chat box as well. Later today, we've got our afternoon session of Get to Know DePaul with our Vice President for Student Affairs, Gene Jarsky. So he will be streaming live from OSI and ResEd's Facebook at 4 p.m. today. And then also, I'd be remiss if I also didn't mention that this series is part of Welcome Week. So throughout Welcome Week, which began last Wednesday through Friday, September 11th, we've got over 165 events planned for students here at DePaul. Some are like this to help you get to know services and resources. We've got a couple other streaming series, our Get Involved series, our Connecting to Chicago series. Campus Rec is doing some movement series. HPW has a midday mindfulness. We've got a lot of different series happening that way, but also some one-off offerings. So that full listing of events can be found at welcomeweek.depaul.edu. So to be sure to check it out to see what's going on as we head into fall quarter. But Ellen, again, thanks so much for taking the time to join us, and to our viewers, we will see you later this afternoon. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.